Clap, and I will be offering our Introduction to Evolution course here. I know many of us are in quarantine and our situation in terms of education is a little different than it normally is, but this is a course that you'll receive absolutely no credit for, but it will give you some information that you wouldn't get otherwise. So you're free to check it out, and what this purpose of this video is to sort of lay out what the course will be, what the expectations are, and what you might learn. So course will offer. So to begin with, this course will teach you primarily three things. To begin with, we'll talk about how mutations and other sources lead to variation. We can't all be the same. It's a good thing that we're not. And it turns out that evolution acts upon the fact that we're not all the same. And so that becomes really important. And so we'll learn a little bit about how that actually comes to be. And so how we're not all the same, and certainly the value that has in evolution. Second, we'll talk about what this theory of evolution by natural selection actually claims, how it works, and how the theory was developed. I know it can be somewhat controversial in a few circles, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But for the most part, we'll just explain what the theory is and how it explains natural processes. And then finally, and I think this will be interesting, especially in the current context, we'll talk about some modern processes that mimic evolution in terms of politics or design or just market competition. And we'll also talk about some of the implications of natural selection on our current world. The coronavirus that is very present in our lives right now evolved from an earlier version of a virus. And so that's a very interesting thing to talk about its evolutionary past and its potential evolutionary future. So we'll be talking about that. And what we'll be doing different tasks. And I'll kind of explain this in other ways as well. But to give you sort of a framework, the course will be 2 weeks long. And it is a synchronous course in that you have to attend things during the 2 weeks that you are enrolled. You don't progress at your own pace like you do through some other online formats. And to begin with, you have to attend 2 Zoom discussions each of the 2 weeks. And here are the certain topics we'll have for our Zoom discussions. Our very first one will be a discussion about mutations, and again, how they lead to variation, sort of what the different types of mutations out there are. We'll move on to talk about the history of evolution, how, of course, Charles Darwin developed the theory of evolution, but how contemporaries of his, like Lamarck and Wallace, also played a role, as well as ancient Greeks and myths that we have from years ago, and more modern understanding of evolution as well, so how we certainly get to the theory. We'll also spend a little bit of time making sure we understand how the process works through modeling. We'll spend some time modeling natural selection and coming up with fictitious populations and see how they evolve. And then we'll also talk about the implications of evolution in our modern society, as well as some of those things that mimic it. So I think these are really good topics, and I think each of them have a lot of potential for good discussion. So hopefully we'll find out that they do. You'll also be expected to do some work. You'll be expected to do 2 online evolution simulations. This blue grabber one is one of my favorites, and you'll be expected to find another one on your own. The world has plenty of those, and so they're neat to kind of check out and develop some ideas. What we'll try to do as a main focus is to define or discuss and refine this list of things necessary for evolution by natural selection. In the end, you should understand how the process works and the things necessary for natural selection to happen. And then we'll develop a model of evolution. So you'll develop a model of how it would work, understanding the different things necessary. So you'll sort of put all the ingredients in and bake an evolution cake, if you will. And then finally, we'll talk about the role that natural selection can play with the coronavirus, because of course that's something on everybody's mind and something we'll certainly talk about in this course. And very much like I said before, we'll also discuss some strategies where evolution and principles of natural selection fit into other aspects of our lives. So we do get some components of evolution by natural selection that look really similar in terms of our political environment or design techniques or competitive markets. And so we'll talk about that too. As you finish up your course, you will be expected to develop a final presentation, some kind of a video, either alone or, of course, online with your peers. You can collaborate to develop stuff that explains and models the process of evolution. So by the end, you should understand it, and you should be able to present something showing us that you do. Realize you get no credit for this course. This isn't an accredited school. It's not associated with any school anywhere. You're just taking it because you want to learn about the process. You can pass this information on to your friends. So they can take it at future offerings, whatever it is you want to do. But you're not getting anything for this. You're just learning about a process. So please don't believe that you're getting some course credit for something. We're just teaching about something that we find interesting. That said, even though you don't get anything for this class, we do ask for a commitment from you. If you sign up for the class, follow it through. We don't want to waste our time. We're offering this class for free, and if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. But when you sign up for it, commit to those 2 weeks and knock it out and do what's asked for you in the class. I think it'll all be laid out beforehand, so it's not something where something will sneak up on you. All right, thank you so much. Hope you enjoy the class, and hope you sign up.